So we are here at the Bandai Namco booth with
AJ. My name is AJ Velasco. I'm the assistant marketing manager for digital marketing and communications.
Ooh, all right. And so, first and foremost, as a millennial, I want to talk about the Tamagotchis.
Oh my goodness. Don't get me started. I've lost so many over the course of my childhood.
I know.
It's almost hard to count or even know which versions I had.
Yeah, no, same. I remember like Tamagotchi was on my Christmas list every year. Could I keep it alive? No.
We'll see.
For a couple days, maybe.
Oh, I totally believe you. I don't even remember what the longest was, but I'm sure it wasn't that long.
I would say I might have gotten like 2 weeks.
Wow, I feel like that mine is shorter because mine used to get confiscated by my music teacher, but it's not my fault. We're in a music class, and all of a sudden you hear like a ping, 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 and I'm like, what's that? He's hungry.
He's hungry. Don't mind me. But do you think that kind of this millennial nostalgia has kind of aided in the success of this kind of resurgence?
Totally. I think nostalgia has been the biggest factor for almost everything these days, but I love it. I like knowing that my childhood is back, stronger than ever. Unfortunately, I now have adult money, and that is what makes it dangerous.
I know. I think we were talking about that. We were like, this is like so bad. This doesn't have to go on my Christmas list anymore. It's coming straight out of my bank account.
Who needs a Christmas list? I make adult money. I'm going to instantly buy it.
It's Christmas every day.
The Christmas wish is more money to buy more things.
Exactly. Exactly. So obviously, I'm a big fan of the anime character Tamagotchis that have become available.
Uh-huh.
I don't dare get it because if I kill Gojo in my little Tamagotchi, I could never forgive myself.
I totally believe it.
But are there any more anime series Tamagotchis possibly on the way?
I believe the Tama team definitely works their butts off to get all the collaborations they can.
Sure.
So I can say that I am more excited to see what comes out in the future. I know during our Tama panel that we had earlier this week during your Comic-Con, they showed off some new stuff. So while there wasn't really new anime focus, I think that they want to work onto that because who doesn't love anime?
I know, right?
Anime is like the biggest thing.
It is. Yeah. It's huge, as it should be. As it should be. And so moving into something else that I don't know much about, but is in my household. The Gundams.
Oh my goodness, it's in your household, but you know
my husband is a huge into Gundam. We have a whole glass case of boxes waiting to be built alongside his glass case of the ones that he has built.
Wow, the backlog is also displayed. That's cool.
The backlog is displayed.
I love that.
And then those are displayed there. Those are on his Christmas list every year.
That's cool. That's good. It's easy.
It's easy, but like I never know which ones he has because
that's really tough too. Because some are really good for army building, and then some are like this is a one of like I don't need two. But when you get to customization, you definitely need more than two because then you're like, well, this one wants to be red. I want this one to be a pearl color. So at this point, I need 7 right arms. So I guess I'm gonna need 7 kits.
Oh no! What are we gonna do?
Oh no, my
wallet. So like with those when you're making them or when they're in the design process, what do you think is like the balance behind the scenes of ease of construction along with the level of detail? Because I see him putting those things together and I'm like, better you than me.
Yeah, so I think the first part of their process is designing like which grade it's gonna be. So like for him, right, there's a high grade, which are a little bit easier price points. Then he goes into like real grade, which is around same size, 1/144 scale, but a little bit more detail. Yep. So then immediately just from those two alone, the technology that goes behind it between thinking about how intricate the arms are or legs, like there's just extra additional pieces. And then now when you move into the master grades, which is probably the bigger boxes he has, I assume, then now you're thinking, okay, now it's a scaling thing along with more mechanical issues into there. And every single time they design it, they've got like wizards or something back in Japan. They're cast and spelled like, I know exactly how this technology works. I'm definitely like proud every time I build one because I'm like, I don't know how they did this or how they thought of it, but it's so crazy that, it's maybe like one little change, and now it's it works even better than ever from like a 1.0 to like a 2.0.
I mean, just all the moving pieces of those are incredible to just look at how all those tiny little things all kind of come together.
Exactly. You're like, when you open the box, right? You probably see a box open when he opens and you're like, what are all these?
I'm overwhelmed for him. I'm like, I'm walking away. I'm not helping you with that.
Do you ever just lay down the runners one by one? And you're like, what's happening here? You're like, I'm sorting them out.
Yeah, that's how he starts. He kind of puts it all out, then he opens. I think there's like whatever the instructions are. He's watched videos, but like it's so fun to like kind of go down there and see him tinkering with them. And so, like I said, I don't know much about them. So if I'm looking for a Christmas gift, what are you recommending me get?
I instantly just straight go for the high grades, the HGs, as they'll be on the corner of the box. Just because it's an easier price point, but it's also not that difficult to build. Most of the time, I like to tell people Gundam or building Gunpla isn't a race against time. Yeah. It's your own leisure. It's for yourself. So if it takes you a day or two, that's fine. If it takes you 10 minutes, that's also fine. Usually you just open it up, put on a movie, put on music, candlelight, just start going, building it, and then relax. It's a relaxing time for you. So for me, high grades are the instant go-tos just because they're a little bit easier. So for time constraints, and for the intricacies of it, right? Like I don't want to do a master grade, which might take me a couple days.
Yeah.
But high grade is easy to get, usually easier to find. So that would be my recommendation.
It's funny. I'm now like envisioning like a whole Gundam set up by candlelight with like a charcuterie board.
If you have it, you have to. Candlelight, charcuterie board, Gundam kit, movie.
What's
like
playing in the background?
17 candles.
Got it. All right. Another thing that we love in particular, we're big fans of, is the Gashapons.
You and I are now connected. So all my money goes into Gashapon. In fact, I don't even have. Do I have my little baggie of Gashapon coins right now?
Yes. He's got it.
I got a little cute little bag with it. Usually it's in like a clearer case, but I found this. I'm like, I'll put them in here. Look like a gift.
That does. That looks perfect.
I have always extra coins somewhere on me in case. I'm like, I gotta spin it.
We love them, and we've been seeing them like before. We could only find them like here.
Yes.
And over the past couple years, we've been able to find them out in the wild a little bit more. There's an anime store. I'm from Connecticut. There's an anime store by me that has them. They're at. She's from Pennsylvania, and they're just in a mall. Are you guys launching those? Hopefully, in more locations out in the wild.
Of course. So over the last course of the year, we've been opening what's called GBOs, Gashapon Bandai official shops. And so different than the ones that you see as a kiosk in the mall, like the little islands, these ones are dedicated stores that we help run. And they're usually filled with like hundreds and facings of these Gashapon, kind of similar to what you're seeing over at the booth right now. So imagine that in like a store space. Recently, we did just open one, I think in Texas.
Okay.
And so we do want to expand that. We know everyone loves Gashapon.
Oh, yeah.
And we know that it's got to be in every state. Like right now, if you go to us.gashapon.jp, we've got a store locator.
Okay.
And so those ones, you can find what is the nearest one to you. Some of them may not be as frequently as updated like immediately, but for the GBOs, the ones specifically listed, you can even toggle that on the website. That will be your closest one, and those ones are supposed to be more updated to the month.
Are we hoping to kind of be not too far behind Japanese releases eventually?
Oh my God, I hope so, because there are things I look on the Japanese website and I'm like, gotta have. And then I think about it, I'm like, well, that's like this many tokens, that's this many tokens. I think I'm broke.
I was saying we're talking about adult money before. And
again, the wish list is, please, I want Christmas money. Like this is when, as a kid, they give you money and you're like, well, where's my toy? Now I'm the opposite. I got the toy. Can I get the money for more toys?
I know. But it's kind of also funny now that as a kid you're like, give me the toy, and now as an adult you're like, give me the toy.
Yeah, nothing's changed. You're like, toy.
My parents they were like, it's a phase, you'll grow out of it. And
never
it's like,
a phase.
Not here.
A phase.
Not me.
My mom is like, you'll get out of it. And now where I'm working, she's like, I know it's not a phase. It's not a phase.
I've sitting here dressed up in a costume, and she's like, "This is
life.
This is what we're doing."
I love it.
Getting anime tattoos, and she's like, "You're still."
It's like, it's never leaving, Mom. Never leaving.
Just get used to it. Yeah. She's like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I don't know what that is." And I was like, "Then money's fine."
My favorite is when a parent does come to our booths and they're like, "I'm looking for this. My grandson's asking about it," and that's my favorite because then I'm like, I know exactly what they're talking about. Let me just walk. If it's a shopping experience, let me walk you over. Or right here, this is what they were talking about.
It's so wholesome.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
It is, and now us nerdy parents are getting their kids into it. My daughter's running around in a Nezuko costume all weekend at home.
Oh my goodness.
Like mouthpiece and all, going, woo!
I love that.
Yeah, she loves it. So kind of again, like here in the U.S., there's a lot of hot ticket items that aren't available, like, the prize figures that are available in Japan, and again, the Gashapons. But also stores like GameStop over the past couple years have really started, stacking up on like the Banprestos and the other kind of figures. And there's a lot more demand for these products than I feel there used to be. I know a lot of people were talking about how the pandemic kind of fueled like an anime resurgence here because we were all stuck at home and we all started watching everything. So how has Bandai responded to this demand and strategized, getting the stuff to the people here?
Honestly, it's pretty much working with Japan itself and letting them know that the fans are ravenous here. They love this stuff. And whenever we're here at the show, we always take all the photos, like, check out what happened. And they're like, oh my goodness, we got to keep working. We got to keep pushing out. And we want more and more. So the demand is there. We know it. And Japan sees it, we see it, and so everyone, it's a team effort to just go like, we need more, we want them out there, and now it's like, oh, what do we have? What do they not have? What's good? What's cool? What's popular? What do we think is going to be the number one like awesome figure, depending on like a brand, right? Like Gashapon, there's so many different characters. Like, how could you tell which one's going to be good?
Right.
Bring them all.
I'll test it.
Yeah, I'll take it. But then with the figures like Banpresto and stuff, definitely, anime again has like taken the lead in like pop culture at this point. That like now what's favorite IP right now. You're like, oh yeah, that's good stuff. Just bring that here too. Yeah, we'll take it.
Is there some trepidation with maybe some of the lesser known ones, but you guys are still like, you know what? Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, I just kind of say like, because it is a little niche, like it's like almost like water that we want to like tread lightly on.
Yeah, of course.
Because again, we're bringing them over from Japan, so it's very interesting, and we do take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Like, there's like people who like this, people who like that. I think with our Banpresto team, they have like Seduction 2.5, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, but these statues are cool. I like the details. I respect anyone, like all the molders and like the sculptors for it. That I'm like, that's a cool figure just because I don't know how to do it.
I know, right? Like I look at these things and especially with the Banpresto figures, which is what I collect mostly outside of, Gashapons. I'm a huge Banpresto. I got to be over 50 at this point of like Banprestos in my office. And the level of detail is crazy, but I think the best part of those is that you guys are maintaining an affordable price point on them. And even with the exporting, and is that something important to you guys? Obviously,
very important. I think all the brand managers, they heavily consider that. Of what the price point is coming in, because obviously Japan, the world has internet now, right? And it's not hard to get stuff from overseas like it was back in the day,
right?
So we were quite aware of that stuff, and I think that the team works real hard to making sure that it is affordable and it is readily available within like your GameStops, maybe on Amazon, because we did come from the pandemic where we shopped online for everything. We're like, gotta have that. Now you have all these boxes. Yeah. What did I just do?
I know. I get like alerts even now. I'm like, it's like your pre-order's ready to ship, and I said,
what did I get?
Wait, what?
6 months ago, I gotta have that.
At like midnight, I just got done binging a series, and all of a sudden it's like, oh
yeah, like that was such a cool character. Like flashback, that was so cool. Order 2 of these. 6 months later, Oh yeah.
It just happened to me before this weekend.
Oh, no.
I get an email that's like, your pre-order's ready to ship. And I was like, what? What's that?
That's awesome.
I will say, just as a thing, I did find that you guys had a Shangri-La Frontier figures done, and I didn't know those existed until I came here. And you can ask her, I was freaking out. I don't think I've bought something so fast.
Oh my god! Like honestly, it's really fun when you go to a con or just any kind of event, and then you see something, you're like, "That's a thing."
Yeah.
I have to have it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much impulse spend I've done myself doing that to like other booths where I'm like, holy smokes, that's something to have. Here's my card.
Yeah.
Like tap it, just tap it, please.
Yeah, like you can't get it past them. It's like that. Take my money. Like,
but I love that part because then all of a sudden I'm now focused on like this is the brand, this was the company.
Yeah.
Now I know that they do this kind of stuff, and I think that's the great way to like alert you to this collecting world.
Absolutely. That's how. I mean, that's how I started. I came to a convention a couple years ago, saw you guys' name on a figure box, and said, "Oh, this is where I get my stuff."
Yeah, like,
and
it's fun to kind of correlate. You're like, Bandai? Well, I've seen this logo a couple times, and then all of a sudden you're like, they make everything.
They make all this stuff that I want.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess I'll just give you guys access to my paycheck from here on out. And
We got mine already. So.
and
Sure.
yeah, and we'll just thanks for all you guys do.
Oh no, well, thank you. You know, I come from that same world, and it's so interesting to be on this side of like the desk, the mirror, and just looking. I'm like, no, I'm still a fan. Like I can work and do all that stuff, but at the same time, like hardcore fan. Like I love that stuff, and I'm like, when is that one gonna come? Because I need that one, and I need this one. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just work. You keep that paycheck. It's just gonna just make sure it comes to me. Yeah.
I will say though, we've talked to a lot of different people this weekend, and it seems like kind of a consensus behind anime products in general is that it is shoehorned by fans of the product. I don't think I've talked to anybody here this weekend that wasn't a fan of the stuff behind it, and I think that that's just part of the success of the anime like merch, whatever you want to call it, world.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the fans for it, so like that, because again, like you can't buy something if you're not passionate about it. Like there's no one I know who goes, yeah, that was an okay show, I'm going to buy the figure. Mostly that was an okay show, I don't think I need the figure. But for everyone that's like, that show was amazing, that was peak, I loved it, gotta have this character. Oh, of course I believe so, because that's how I am. I love a character, gotta have a character, gotta have a figure of it somehow. And if no one has it, start flooding the boards, commenting, gotta have it, please make it. We get that all the time. Yeah. And I tell everyone, just keep shouting it from the rooftops, because eventually one day when it does happen, you're gonna be so happy that you have a figure of it, just because who knew that was gonna happen?
Yeah, well, that was like me this weekend. I found Sunraku from Shangri-La Frontier, and my weekend was made.
Nice, I love that.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time.
No
it was great
problem.
Talking to you.
Thank you for visiting.
Of course.